Rami Khouri is a senior fellow and professor at the American University of Beirut. He joins us from the Lebanese capital. Rami Khouri, welcome back to Al Jazeera. Does this Hajj, or did the run-up to this Hajj feel different? Because it feels as if there are different, more acute tensions around the Muslim world, around this region.
Well, there's certainly a lot of tension and fighting and state collapse and civil wars and sectarian battles and all kinds of terrible things happening in many Arab countries, not all of them, and also in other places like Afghanistan and Kashmir and other places around the world. There's a lot of tension, but this has been going on for many years. The really significant new element here this year, I would say, compared to previous years, is the most extreme vulnerabilities that the Palestinians are feeling in Palestine, and particularly in Jerusalem. So while the Hajj is going on in Mecca in a rather orderly way, the Saudis have been pretty good at organizing the Hajj for Muslims from all over the world. But in Jerusalem, there's a new situation, which is that the holy sites, especially Haram al-Sharif, what the Israelis call the Temple Mount, what we call the Holy Sanctuary, the holy sites have become the symbol of Palestinian nationalism, solidarity, steadfastness, and collective political and social action to stay in Palestine and to prevent the Israelis or Kushner and Trump and others who are trying to come up with new ideas, to prevent them from totally diluting the Palestinian national struggle into a situation of economic zones or investment in plastics factories, which is what the Kushner plan is trying to do. So the symbolism of what's going on in Jerusalem today is nationalistic, it's political, it's about human solidarity and about the preservation of a Palestinian identity, which reverts to the religious core when the civil and political rights of the Palestinians and the national rights are totally denied, which has been the case initially by Zionism, then the State of Israel, and now increasingly by American and other international parties that are joining the Kushner plan, which very few are joining it. But this is the reason why things are so especially tense in Jerusalem today.
Is there something as well, when we talk about what's going on in East Jerusalem, Rami Khouri, is there something here as well that's maybe slightly counterintuitive, in as much as you've got 88,000 Iranians in Mecca, they've gone to Mecca. Saudi Arabia, clearly with Iran, has a very difficult relationship at the moment, but all those people are there celebrating and going through that spiritual cleansing aspect of the Hajj. And yet, on the other hand, when we look at East Jerusalem, to dovetail that with what's going on in Saudi Arabia, primacy for both the Israelis and the Palestinians is hanging on to the symbolism of those dates, because we've got two potentially, quotes, religious festivals coming together on precisely the same day. You would have thought a victory of planning would have dictated, actually, let's split them by a week, but nobody's thought about that.
The problem also today in Israel and Palestine is that there's an Israeli election coming up soon. And the Israeli election is essentially between the right wing and the extreme right wing and the terroristic super-nationalist right wing in Israel. The center and left in Israel have collapsed for all practical purposes. And so there's a battle now in Israel to get the most votes, and many politicians, including Netanyahu and Lieberman and others, feel that they do this by acting tough, by showing that this land is owned now by Jews, by Israel. The Palestinians are local residents, they're workers, they're people who pass through, but they don't have sovereign national rights as the Jewish people do. And therefore, they go out of their way, the Israeli government and right wing, to accentuate the Jewish ownership of not just the land, but these holy sites that are actually holy to all people, Christians, Muslims, and Jews in different places in the holy city of Jerusalem. So that's really one of the reasons why the Israeli government hasn't come right out and said, okay, we'll continue the tradition which we agreed with the Jordanians and the Islamic Waqf authorities in Jerusalem. We'll continue the tradition that on Muslim holy days, no Jews go up to these sites. They're not doing that. They didn't do it last summer at the end of Ramadan, when the Israelis wanted to celebrate Jerusalem Day, and they seem be hedging their bets today as well.
Okay, as ever, Rami Khouri, many thanks. We'll talk to you later, I'm sure. In the meantime, thank you.